Everyone, we'll call the work session for November the 3rd, 2022 to order. Welcome everyone. We'll jump straight into items of information under Dr. Spence.
Well, we'll start off with Dr. Green with there were some questions about our middle school connections class. I think all of you guys received an email a couple weeks ago, so I wanted to go over that with you, just kind of let Dr. Green talk about middle school connections.
So you all each have a document that's a table or a chart of all of the connections courses offered at our schools. The blue courses are the high school courses that are offered. And you see that every school offers all of the main content areas for connections, but there is some variance in what those courses are. Historical context, some of that is related to the attempt to do magnets at the middle school and the abandonment of that. And then most of it, though, honestly narrows down to two things: student interest at the school and then teacher certification. For example, Needwood's offering French because she had a Spanish position posted for a very long time and then got a recommendation from a colleague that there was a French teacher available looking for a job, and so she shifted to offering French. So most of what you see, honestly, is related to teacher certification. So any specific questions about that? We specifically did try to attempt to add some continuity in our programs from elementary now, with Sterling looking at doing agriculture to Jane making to get this. So there is some attempt to make some alignments on some of our CTAE programs at GIRCA in the high schools. And then there's also some state mandate in this. So things like health and obviously our computer science courses are state mandates. This was the year that we had to have a computer science connections course or elective at every secondary site. And so that's why you see those computer science courses in lieu of the long list we used to have of business administration or business ed type courses.
Has that been explained to the parent? I didn't see. I know you responded initially, but then I didn't know if there was any follow-up after that. I wasn't sure.
There has not. I just wanted to see if you guys had any questions about what was offered and show you the differences and give you the reasoning for the differences.
But I think we need to contact that individual and at least say, or set up a meeting or whatever. I mean, I don't understand. I think they've been out to the school. They've talked to the people out there, but yet it still doesn't seem to go through into the process of them understanding, I guess. I don't know what the confusion is, but if it's not one thing, it's another, and it seems to be at the same school every time. Obviously, their child goes to this school, I guess. I don't know, but can you drop an email response back just to say this is where we're at with it?
Certainly.
And if they've got any questions, they can contact you or the school as usual, and see what's going on. So, does anybody have any particular questions pertaining to that? I was trying to look up the email to see. It kind of goes all over the place.
I just have an observation. So it looks like there's a language class in all 4 middle schools now, which is new in the past couple of years.
Yes, ma'am. The middle school principals and I met last year to establish what would be some of the courses that would be consistent across schools. And world language was definitely one that we agreed collectively there needed to be an offering at every school, so there wouldn't be a perception of an advantage or disadvantage. And so all schools have it.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Do middle school kids have access to Georgia Virtual for credit, or is that just high school?
Yes, sir. They do.
I mean, I know it'd be hard to do kind of what she's talking about, but I mean, you can take business courses, and I mean,
You can.
I've
And
got a
we
child in
have
Spanish too in Georgia Virtual right now, and it's not the best case scenario, but it's still something to get content. If it works within the schedule, I don't know if that's been presented to whomever.
We already have it. Dr. Akins actually has
I don't know what's all offered.
a couple students that are on Georgia Virtual, one's taking Chinese.
Right.
So if that opportunity is there, that's a discussion
Yeah.
with the council department and administration.
Bunch of options.
But it sounds like they're wanting everything offered at one time, which is, not very, I guess, conducive to what we can and what we can't do. So as far as doing agriculture, science, PE, it sounds like across the board, the email was just, stating that they wanted Spanish, they wanted, arts as far as the kiln and all that type thing, but of course, obviously, one, we gotta have the teachers to teach it, and two, we gotta have enough interest in the classes in order for it to be done. So I think those things could be explained, briefly, at least in an attempt. It doesn't register, but at least we can say try to explain.
Also, we have to get the message out to the parents, the resources, and just because the curriculum varies from middle school to middle school, that doesn't mean they don't have the opportunity to join the virtual subject. So we just need to let them know that.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a lot of that stuff, in the future, not that it makes it wrong for it to come from one person, but generally some requests like that kind of bubble up through site councils and or PTAs and stuff like that, and there's a groundswell of, desire to have something like, if you don't have the need for it, or the kids are willing to take the class, it's not gonna make.
Right.
It's just the same reason Brunswick High, when I was in school, we had 2 AP courses, and Glynn Academy had 15. We just did, there wasn't a need, and so, we can't just hire people just in case we wanna make a Spanish class, but if we can offer other options, I think that's probably a good idea for now.
Okay.
Thank y'all for putting it together.
Thank you, Dr. Green. We'll go to Mr. Blackerby next. Facilities update.
Good evening. Quick project update for East Plus 3 and East Plus 4 projects. GA Gym addition is come along nearing completion. I believe I told you last time we had to change hardwood floor supplier, and actually the floor wound up arriving about a week and a half, 2 weeks earlier than we anticipated, and it is being installed right now. This week is being installed, so we'll be able to move our timeline up a little bit from what we had anticipated from the delay with the flooring. The rest of the building is complete. We've attempted to get a temporary CO. Fire marshal asked us to do a few additional things before we did that, so we may have that in the coming days as well. The minor issues, they want a couple additional strobes in the restrooms and things such as that. So we're working through that. Is the existing gym, the new sound system has been installed and it has been tested. It should be up and running well by basketball season. We have scaffolding over the seats right now, installing the new lights. Our target date to end that is on November 15th, so we can clear out of there for basketball season, and then we'll have to start the planning process, for after basketball season, what the next phase of work will be there. The GA annex floor issue we're dealing with, the excavation that I talked about last month has been completed. That was successful. Mr. Tootin has met with Hunter Saucy, the structural engineer, and we're waiting to hear back from him for the final plan on what the solution is going to be to make sure we shore up those joists and get it all put back together. And then we'll replicate that on the other one, on the other classrooms after we get to that point. St. Simon's Elementary, which I'll talk more about this in a minute. We have a small presentation on it, but St. Simon's, a new issue has arose there. I think I told you last time about the switchgear, but we have a workable solution to that now, which we've been able to work through. We don't have the switchgear, but we have a solution until it gets here. And but Mohawk Flooring, who was the floor supplier, they had a quality control issue, so they did not ship the flooring as they were supposed to. So right now, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the new ship date is 11/19, right? Is that correct? Yeah, I think so, which puts us several weeks behind. We have furniture coming in on December 19th, which was our target date to start moving stuff over. Still working with them at Night Construction. They're trying to make a plan up so we can still hit that target, because we want to get that building open for the new year so that we can move into the next phase. And then I believe the SME is Satilla Marsh Elementary. We're still in the planning phases of that. We don't really have anything to present right now other than we are still in the planning phases for the renovations there, which we'll start next summer. And good report, which the first page of that on the summary is kind of what I just went through, but if you go to page 6, I think there's a next pertinent, it shows our receipts. And as you see right there, the top line, we're 2.6 million this month, which is still up 200,000 over what we had been the previous October. And so you can, but the trend is still kind of mirroring each other. We're just staying just above the line there all the way across. All right. Any questions on those? If you want to go to the St. Simon's Elementary, I think the GMP is next. I may let Mr. Tootin speak about some of this because he's a little more familiar with the drawing, but essentially we're moving, tonight we'll present the GMP for Phase 4. Phase 3 was the 2-story construction. Phase 4 moves into the gym, and the new kitchen and the admin area. Mr. Tootin, you want to describe what's on the screen for him?
The area that you see in red will be demolition. The 3 buildings along the north property line will be demolished. The small building near the existing bus entrance will be demolished. And we'll have construction fences to isolate. Temporarily, through the portion of the construction process, this building will remain in service. A portion of this building will be demolished as well. So that will happen after this building is occupied. The demolition will be the next phase. We go to the next. What you see on the left is a new PE building. That's the lobby. That just shows chairs in the building for an assembly, and that's the stage. There's a connecting walkway. This is the new administration addition here, connecting to the existing building. This is the existing cafeteria. The existing kitchen sits right over here. It will be demolished. It was a part of the demolition plan. That won't happen though until the new kitchen in this area is completed. The existing media center will have to be demolished in order for the new kitchen to be completed. So this phase consists of gym, PE, admin addition, and then new kitchen. During the summer, we'll try to change over the kitchens from one to the other. The scheduling is going to be a bit difficult, but we have alternate paths. We're working on alternate paths, but administration during the renovation of the building to remain will have to move into the new portion of the administration, and that will be temporary housing. And then when this renovation project is done, then the school will be put together again. The entrance will be from the driveway that goes from Demery to Ocean Boulevard, and so this will be the main administrative entrance. There's covered walkways along there so that student drop-off and so forth can occur. So that is the Phase 4 construction. The next slide is, there you go, that's better. If you were turning in on Demery Road, if you could move it this way and see a little more to the left, that would be helpful perhaps. If that slide will permit that, there we go. Go back to the, there you go. So this is the gymnasium that you would, or PE building that you would see as you turn in from Demery, moving toward the administration building and Ocean Boulevard. Next slide is just past what we were just looking at. If you turned and looked back toward the gym, PE, that's what you would see. And this is the portion of the connecting walkway that goes from the PE building over to the existing, I say existing, over to the new admin addition. The next slide is a continuation of that walkway that interconnects the PE lobby and the administration lobby, and that is the new administration building entrance. And the next slide is in front, looking kind of at a frontal view of the new administration. And the next slide is inside. This view seems to be a little bit distorted based on what is on our PDF. It's a little too high and not wide enough, but I don't know exactly what. That one looks different to me, but maybe it's probably my angle, isn't it? But at any rate, looking through there, you'll see the building that you're seeing through there is a new two-story classroom addition, and we're showing the indication that there's some trees and so forth. So that would be the courtyard area between all of the buildings that you would look out and see. And this would be the main entrance to the administration lobby. And when you entered it, on one side would be the reception desk, on the other would be through a window the security officer. So that's an overview, and we'll have better color renderings of this once upon a time, but that takes a little time and we're not there yet.
I have a few questions.
Surely.
So the gym that exists now at St. Simon's is small compared to, say, the gym at Oglethorpe. Will the new gym at St. Simon's be more the size of what we're seeing in our other schools?
Yes,
Okay.
it's almost the same size as the other schools. It may be a bit more narrow because of the constriction of this particular site. But as you walked into it, you wouldn't know the difference in being in it and Oglethorpe. Plenty of seats. It has a full basketball floor. Not that you particularly need that, but just to give you an idea of size. So it's about the same as Oglethorpe and about the same as Altalma and Burroughs Millette.
Whereas before it's what's currently there is very small.
Yeah, half that size or something
Right,
like that.
that's good. And then I just want to clarify, the historic building is not being demolished.
That is correct.
Yeah, okay.
That building
'Cause I
will
think-
remain.
That's phase 5.
And
Yeah,
it's
you
being
will-
renovated, but not demolished.
Yeah, we're going to try to put it into like-new condition, as sensitive to its original appearance as we can make it.
Sure. Okay.
So, but it'll have new air conditioning and all new finishes. But, for example, in my thought process, and we haven't developed this in detail, but what we try to do at the Glynn Academy Prep Building and at Glynn Academy Sidney Lanier was to retain features which were unique to that period and so forth. So at Sidney Lanier, for example, we either retained existing doors and refinished them in new hardware, or we purchased doors that were about the same. So when you walked along the classroom, you saw a door that looked like it fit the original building versus a brand new door. And we'll use the same technique here in terms of trying to retain the features as best we can, raising the ceilings higher if we can. So, yeah, we'll return it as close to it certainly won't be a restoration. It will be an adaptable reuse, I think is what a historic preservationist would call it.
Okay.
So that we will try to make it closer, it'll look hopefully closer to its original form than it does now.
Sure. And so the technology ability will be, brought into current standards.
It'll have all of the features.
I know that's been an issue.
Yes,
Yeah.
electrical, heating and air conditioning, data systems, fire protection, everything will be comparable to a new building.
Okay. And then just one more. I couldn't follow you on
Go to the next.
how buses and, people are is everything on the back side now? Whereas the bus loop was around that small
Go
building
to the
before.
next slide, if you would, please, sir. There you go. Now, I'm not smart enough to solve all of this circulation problem, but I can address it the way we have talked about it. What you'll have that's different than what you have now is you'll have a much better opportunity to get traffic through the site. Whether buses will be able to turn around there if that's the way we decide.
What we have tentatively just is may move the bus drop-off to where those parking spaces are off of Ocean. And I say tentatively because we're
Yeah.
working with the church on improving the parking on the backside where the music room and the bus loop used to be. If you go there now, you can see that we've expanded that a little bit now. We kind of hit a stalemate with the church in our discussions, but that's the plan right now is to whatever we lose in parking up front, we would gain in the back.
Okay, and does it go all the way through, like from Demery behind everything over to
Yes.
Ocean? Okay, which is new, that doesn't do that.
No, that does not exist
No, it
now.
certainly
Okay.
doesn't do that now. But the drive would go through so that it would be one way. And, you know, over time, patterns have a tendency to change, so it may change over time. But the point is that there'll be opportunity for a drop-off and to get traffic, and it seems logical that we put the buses to the
Yeah.
front, because they will be there shorter periods of time, and then during the interim, you could probably park there as well. And the automobiles to drive right through is the intended plan. This is parking, we just defined the handicap spaces and things, but there'll be angle parking in front of that covered walkway that connects the two buildings.
Thank you. It's different than what it is now, but, I mean, we're making the best use of the space we can.
Right. We'll have better access to the kitchen and better kitchen, but it won't be the kind of access that we would have normally designed. The space on that site is very limited, as you
Sure.
know.
Thank you.
We're putting 6 new red lights in, right? County's gonna put red
How
lights
many
in.
red lights?
Open up the
That's what the bus loop is, it's a roundabout.
Go down to there, C.
See,
The other C, right there. So we've been working with Midnight Construction over the last month to get the GMP established, the guaranteed maximum price for Phase 4. That price that we have, as of yesterday, that we have finally arrived at is $11,129,144. This includes the demolition of the old buildings and the site work, construction of the gym, and construction of the new kitchen, the admin area, and the associated awnings and sidewalks and fencing for the site. All those are included in the $11 million. The only part that's not included in that, as part of Phase 4, is the kitchen equipment, which you approved last month, so that we could go ahead and get a head start on ordering that. As far as from a budget standpoint, prices have escalated throughout the course of this project. This does approach us to the overall budget that was originally slotted, I guess, a couple of years ago. So moving into Phase 5, we will need to move some money, but if you dig into the GOOD report, you'll see in contingency we do have about $18 million that we could draw from, which we would not use all of that yet. But anyway, for the renovation in Phase 5, we would need to move some additional money into there.
And that's the last phase?
Yes.
5?
Yes. It is the last phase. It will occur probably in phases within Phase 5 because we'll be occupying the building, part of the building while we're working on it, so we'll be moving kids back and forth across the hallways probably as we do that work.
Like we've done at Oglethorpe
Like we've
or
done, yes,
Meadwood
yes.
or other schools?
Yeah, they will need that space. We won't be able to completely vacate the building for the work to be done.
chiller replacement for the GA building.
Yes, the chiller across the street here is on its last legs. It controls basically all the HVAC for the entire building, and we need to look at replacing it. It's $85,300 is the quote. Our guys are going to do the install in-house if approved, so we're not paying for the additional install for it. But we are requesting to go with a carrier unit so that we're matching up apples for apples for what we currently have. And Mingledorf is the sole source provider for carrier products in this area.
Any questions about the chiller? Surplus vehicles.
The maintenance vehicles that we attempted to order, that we did order last October, have now slowly started trickling in. Not nearly all of them, but a few of them have. So we are in the process of turning some vehicles down that either have extremely high mileage and also have mechanical issues that are just making them unsafe to drive. So these vehicles are the first that we will attempt to auction off.
And then surplus equipment.
This represents some of the furniture that both at Needwood and Oglethorpe, as well as Old Altama, as we're moving the board office down there, things that we've identified that are surplus that we would like to attempt to auction off. We do have some items that were previously on a surplus list that are posted on Gov Deals right now. Not a whole lot of takers, but we're trying to get to sell any of them we can. There's also a 24 by 32 modular classroom. It's the one that's in front of Old Altama that we'd like to get moved out of there. And then the playground equipment that's at Old Altama.
Any other questions for Mr. Blackerby? All right, let's go back up to 3A. Dr. Green.
Yes, sir. We have to have our materials harmful to minors complaint resolution process policy in place by January 1st. This is one of the policies that came out over the summer with divisive concepts, and we decided to wait until the state put out a model policy. And essentially, this is the model policy with our language at the top. And so we wanted to propose consideration of this policy so that we will be compliant with the state the Senate bill for this particular policy. And essentially what it is a policy that says a parent can issue a formal written complaint about content in anything, not just a book, what they read, or classroom libraries. This could be the curriculum as well, and it has to be sexual content, sexual in nature. So it's specific to that.
This, of course, would have to sit for a month. So.
It's just another addition to the state's rules that we have to adopt, so it's nothing, we do it all the time, and this is another one, is the next one.
All right. Any questions for Dr. Green? 3B, financial report. Mr. Griner.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Spence. Chris, if you pull up the September 22 financials. We just had one budget amendment for September. It was to increase our donations we received, which is a good thing for our Teacher of the Year event. So we increased that by $4,100 over the original budget. Chris, if you go to page 2, we'll look at the general fund. Again, focusing on the, if you look at the percentage column next to budget balance, you'll see revenues were at 15% of our, for year to date. This is typical. 60% of our budget's in local taxes, and as y'all all know, the bills are due this month. So this will look drastically different as we start moving through October, November, December. We'll be way ahead on the revenue side, and then it'll start kind of catching itself back, going back down toward the, the rest of the year. On the expenditures, if you scroll down just a little bit, Chris, there you go, thank you. We're at 20%, we're, it should be at 25%, so we're still under budget there. Some of that's related to this timing of expenditures, and also, still trying to fill vacancies, as well. So that's why that, is in line with where we were at last year. So it's, that's also to be expected, just based on some of those factors. Chris, if you could go to the next attachment, which is since Mr. Blackerby talked about eSplosh, we've already went over that, so so on the investments, this is, we approved the investment policy, I guess, almost 2 months ago. So we started investing kind of late in September. General operating, workers' comp building fund, at the end of September, it put those in a money market. We're earning 2.82%. That's actually went up a little bit. We're 2.9% right now. Have invested most of that, but not the general operating. I'm still kind of waiting to get our tax money in to do some short-term treasuries on that, but have invested the workers' comp building fund. We're in the mid-threes on that right now, earning. eSplice, using the GUD report, which is very helpful for our cash flow analysis. We invested almost $23 million of eSplice 3, $21 million of eSplice 4, a little over 4% on eSplice 3, and then almost 3.78 on eSplice 4. September we didn't have as much because we invested later in the year. For the month of October for eSplice 3, our total interest income was around $75,000. For 4, it's about $65,000. So we, on the checking accounts, we were earning 0.05%, so we were able to drastically increase there. We've also worked with Truist on, it doesn't show up on here, but it will in October also, to kind of restructure our accounts with them, where we're actually earning more on our checking account there as well. We're close to, actually with the Fed announcement yesterday, we're over about 2.5% on that money now as well. So trying to restructure, just trying to manage that. For instance, I took the receipts that we talked about eSplice, invested those today. This tells you how much the market's changed. We got 4.7% for a year today. I don't know. $2.5 million investment. I was sitting here trying to do that. That's about $115,000 in interest just on that one security today. So that's how much the market has shifted since the end of September. It's 4.7 in that range now. So I did do most of these short term. So we'll have, I think in 4, I've got $6 million coming due at the end of December. So we're investing into our higher rate market, which is also a good thing. So just trying to maximize that. As Mr. Blackerby said, the costs are definitely going up on our projects. So hoping this will supplement some of that, and we can, use the interest to kind of fill in some of those gaps with the higher costs that are coming. And I'll be happy to answer any questions y'all might have.
That's good news.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And then finally, Mr. Driggers is going to do the St. Simon's Classroom Technology.
So we're asking for new Promethean interactive TVs and sound systems for the classrooms in the new 2-story building at St. Simon's. These are the same sound systems and TVs we've done at Burroughs, Altama, all the renovations at Glynn Academy. We had one bidder give us a price back. It's the same bidder who did all those installs, plus the big 2 installs we did over the past couple of years, the 545 panels across the district, and I think it was 300 panels across the district. Company Promethean has released a newer model of the TV. St. Simon's, the classrooms that are getting demolition, have 25 of those TVs right now. The new building has 30 classrooms. So rather than put 5 newer version TVs in 5 rooms and 25 existing TVs over, we're asking to put the new version in all the classrooms with the sound systems, and then we're going to reuse the ones we're pulling out of St. Simon's for other rooms that may have older version TVs still in them.
Any questions from Mr. Driggers? No? Mr. Mansell, that is all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Brings us down to executive session. I entertain a motion to go into executive session for land, legal, personnel, and tribunal review. Motion by
Second.
Ms. Sands, second. Ms. Gibbons, any discussion? All those in favor? Such unanimous at 5:34. Turn it to open
They're going
session.
to stay on.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Yergin, second by Ms. Sims. Any discussion? All those in favor? At 6:35.
Motion to adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn by
that.
Dr. Yergin, second by Mr. Marcus.
Unanimous.
Any discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous.